Hi, my name's John, and this is Business Update. In this week's episode, we'll be continuing the saga that's happening with Diablo Immortal with some more serious situation in terms of the goal of Activision in creating this game, even though it's a free to play game, which looks nice at the beginning, but their ultimate goal is to capture a small subset of the gaming community, especially those implementing a very addictive type of strategy in terms of it tries to engage you to play the game for a very long time, and you'll eventually find out that you have to spend a large sums of money to be able to to skip the grinding part of the game, which is can be laborious and tedious, so that you'll spend money, actual currency, your money, to finish the game. And little did I know when we last discussed about this is some would spend in the north of thousands, tens of thousands of dollars of their hard-earned money to play a single game so that you can get those gems that they call it. And you know people even gone to extreme lengths, as we will discuss here today, according to techspot.com, that a player in particular spent upwards of $100,000. So imagine that, spending that amount of money on a single game doesn't give you any additional benefit, and obviously you could have used that actual money to buy a plethora of games already, consoles, maybe even a Steam Deck, and so forth. Obviously, the winner here is the publisher here, which is Activision, which is, I think that's their whole point of focusing or preying on those who are addictive to these types of games. And obviously, based on the review, the game itself is, in fairness, is a very compelling game. But the problem is, the more that you play, they will try to entice you to make it difficult in terms of gameplay or progression, especially the end game part, so that you'll be enticed by using different schemes. In this case, using gems to level up your character, and to be able to get the maximum level, you have to spend even more, to the point that we've discussed before, that it will cost you upwards in thousands. And what's funny, that someone would spend 100,000 for you know for a game, which technically could have bought an old home, a brand new car, a lot of things, but not spend on a particular game, which is, it's a very crummy situation, a very unethical. But the companies know this and try to capitalize this. Obviously, it's not just Activision that's doing these types of strategy. You have number one, that is EA, that prize on children. That's why they use sports to levy the monetization of, or microtransactions of, those many popular sports here. Anyway, so let's take a closer look of what happened here. Anyway, the problem here is that he spent upwards of 100K to build a character too powerful to match up against others. Now, isn't that ironic that spending so much money to give you that advantage, a clear edge over your competitor, especially for the PvP? Well, to the point that no one's the server is not able to match you with a different player who would spend that amount of money just to play a single game here, which is, the key word here is, the publisher is looking for whales who would spend, you know this amount of money for a single game experience. On the other hand, for me, obviously, typically when you purchase a game, whether it's $60 or $70, or whether it's 2,000, 3,000 pesos here in our country, that you play the game, the full version of it is. That's why I'd rather pay for a full version of a game rather than play a free to play game, and then try to extort money, as you become addicted to the game here. Anyway, so let's see what happened here. Anyway, it was mentioned here, a video published back in July 31st. JT from the YouTube channel, JT Sal Business, said he spent a ton of money in Diablo Immortal, around 100,000 as mentioned, to create a very powerful character. Well, that didn't turn out fine. The fact that you spend that initially, which is kind of very irresponsible. Even if you're trying to, get a lot of clicks here to engage your audience, but spending that amount of money, I don't think that kind of return is warranted here. And to the point here is, he ran through competition and amassed a record so good that the matchmaking system literally can find opponents to pit him against. And he he reached out to Blizzard regarding the unique situation more than a month ago and was directed to a post on its Blizzard's forum. The post got more than 100 replies, but still nothing from. Obviously, Activision is not going to do anything about it because no one, or I'm sure they didn't think of that someone would spend this amount of money. They knew that many people or a small subset would spend a lot of money, but not this amount of money here. So meaning they hit the jackpot here, which is good for the company, but for the YouTuber here and for the gamers, this is a big loss here. Obviously, capitalizing on the weakness or the vulnerabilities of players who are addicted to these types of mechanics, can be, difficult to overcome, and those companies does know it and will continue to capitalize unless uh, legislations or the government step in and do something about it. Or one way to alleviate this concern is for the gamers themselves stop you know playing this game, and let the company know that no one's going to patronize your product if it's going to lead to this misery that a lot of people are spending here. It's not as if a lot of players can afford to spend tens of thousands of dollars here. And goes on to say that eventually JT got a response. uh, a Blizzard rep told him that they have approved a fix that they're going to implement in the next upcoming days. And JT mentions that regarding the fix, so you have to wait until the patch drops and see how it comes. And obviously, obviously, this is just a minority, so I don't think they would prioritize solving this, because at the end of the day, the whole point of the game is, even though it's a free to play, as mentioned, is to attract players to get hooked on the game on the initial part, and as you invest a lot of time, that you'll be coerced, pushed, or nudged to spend more or spend actual money and be able to upgrade your characters. And the sad fact here is, if you're going to use currency here, why should you be able to exchange it or trade it with other players if you want to do so, and so forth? But I don't think that's not the case here. Obviously, the goal of the company here is to generate the maximum revenue with the least amount of effort here. And obviously, in terms of reviews, has been lackluster to say the least, which has a low score here. But sad to say here, their business model that they've implemented here is very successful, since they have amassed already the north of $100 million. So meaning, in the vast seas of players here, rich and poor, they're targeting the top 1% of the gaming community who has the resources and the money to spend, spending thousands, tens of thousands, 100,000s worth of money, with no implications on their part. But for the majority, that's maybe too you know too appalling in a sense. And until obviously gamers or the gamers themselves do something about it, and the community, then companies like Activision will continue to try to prey on the vulnerabilities here. And we'll see how it pans out here. And obviously, personally, I don't approve of this, but at the end of the day, companies have the right to produce a game. It's up to the gamers to choose whether to you know uh, buy the game, play the game, and support the game, and so forth here. And obviously, understanding the value that the game does should be inculcated to or educating the individuals here, whether you're young or an adult here. And obviously, knowing what is in store for you is important. But this is just my opinion here. Anyway, we'll see how this pans out here, if someone would even spend even more than 100,000 here. or even more. Hopefully not. Anyway, it emboldens Activision here, despite the trouble that they're encountering internally here, right? But anyway, that's it for now. Come back again on Wednesday for more business updates. As always, continue supporting the channel. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you enjoyed watching this content. As always, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.